Okay. I'm going to call the Wiscasset Select Board meeting to order. It's Tuesday, April 21st, 2020. It is now 4:33 via teleconference. I am going to have a roll call. Ben.
Here.
Kim.
Here.
Jeff.
Here.
Catherine.
Here.
And myself, Judy. Also joining us in this meeting is Kathy Ornato, Town Manager John O'Connell, and we have Dennis Simmons, who is the EMT Director. We also have two members of the press, which is Phil DeVise, representing the Wiscasset newspaper, and Charlotte Boynton, representing Lincoln County News. Okay, our first order of business is the treasurer warrants.
I'll make a motion to approve the payroll warrants of April 3rd, April 10th, and April 17th, 2020.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Ben is a second. Okay. All those in favor? Ben?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Catherine?
Yes.
And myself. It passes 5-0. Accounts payable for April 14th and April 21st.
I move that we approve the accounts payable warrants for April 14 and April 21, 2020.
Second.
It was Catherine and Kim. Okay. All those in favor? Ben?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Catherine?
Yes.
And myself. All right, that passes 5-0.
Judy,
Yes.
do we need to stop in and sign anything?
No, at this point in time, John, who is our treasurer, has the ability to sign all warrants and payroll warrants and accounts payable at this point.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
If you remember, we did that at one of our meetings so that this was even before I think this came about when the treasurer left. We made him treasurer, and he can sign anything for us.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Actually, Madam Chair.
Yes.
At some point, once we've got our disinfecting routine a little better, I wouldn't mind a few signatures on the warrants. I've signed them all as they came along, but I'm used to seeing signatures. I wouldn't mind seeing signatures. It's up to the board.
I get it, John.
Okay. As chairman, I would like to ask Ben and Kim and Jeff, would you please take on this task?
Of course.
Yes.
And I don't mind either if you need an extra one. I don't live that far away.
Yep. Well,
okay.
What I'll do is I'll make sure everything's wiped off and give you gloves and bring your own masks, and we can take it from there.
Okay, that one's settled. Okay, we have the next item, approval of minutes for April 7th. Do we have any issues, any corrections at this point? Did anybody see anything? I did not.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of the April 7, 2020 meeting.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Ben?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Catherine?
Yes.
And myself, 5-0. We have no special presentations. We have no committee appointments. We have no public hearing. We have no public comment. So the next item is department head or committee chair. We all got copies of the department head monthly reports. Are there any comments regarding that?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, Ben?
Under the town clerk's report, did you happen to read that? Under the section for elections.
Yes, I did read that.
That seems to contradict the motion that we took on the 31st to postpone the nominations, elections, and everything, and which we announced to the public. And then somehow that got reversed after our meeting.
Nothing's gotten reversed, I don't believe.
Well, apparently nobody has informed you on anything.
Yes, they
She's
have.
been
I got it.
informed. I've told her. Because Ben, I'm sorry to
Hey, whoa,
interrupt you.
whoa.
Well, could I please speak?
Let Ben finish, Kim, and then Ben.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
do you have the town clerk's in front of you, her report?
yes, I do have it.
Okay. On the 9th, which was a day that things were going to be due,
Yes,
but then we canceled everything. On the 9th, about 1:30 in the afternoon, I got a phone call from the town clerk informing me that if I wanted to be on the ballot, I had to have my nomination papers in by 5 o'clock that day. And of course, I laughed and said, well, gee, that wasn't what we decided to do, and I don't have all the signatures I need. But anyways, I went out and found them and turned them in. And that's really all I know. Nobody has said anything to me since then. But we really need to straighten this out. We canceled things, and they need to be canceled and done properly.
John, would you like to explain what happened after Linda came back from her week off?
Yeah. I got an email, I think it was the Tuesday, and it said the governor, as you know, had talked about holding the primary on July 9th. And
14th.
town clerk, beg your pardon?
It's July 14th, I thought.
Yeah, July
That's correct.
14th.
July 14th, yes.
So town clerk mentioned that and said, well, maybe we could hold the town meeting on that same day. And I said, well, you put together a schedule to show me what our deadlines are and so on and so forth. And we'll take it from there and I'll bring it to the board. And that was the last I heard until Friday afternoon. And that's when I was told that there were four people who signed up, and I tracked. This was well underway, and I figured it was halfway done. So I tracked Kim down, and Kim came in, and that was it. I hadn't. That's basically what happened. And as Judy does point out, the board canceled the regular town meeting date and did not set a new one. I had a conversation with Kathy Honorato, the town clerk, and the attorney, and
Was Linda
it was-
present? Was Linda
Beg your pardon?
present? Was the town clerk present at the time?
Oh, I beg your pardon. She was, yes. And we went through it, and
I know you're trying to pick your words.
I'm trying to pick my words. Anyway, it ended up with 5 signatures being collected, despite, in case you can, Kathy may be more diplomatic than me, but despite what the attorney said, it was not, the information was not absorbed. That's the way of putting it.
Now, I want to make sure that the board understands that after our meeting on the 31st, there was a text sent to the town clerk explaining what had happened at that meeting, that we had postponed the election and the budget at this point in time. What happened, I don't know exactly where the town clerk's viewpoint was, but I feel that in some ways this disenfranchises anybody that wants to run for election, because in the motion it stated that we were going to give the 100-day notice all over again to get signatures in the whole 9 yards. I'm not sure legally if the papers that have been put in now are legal because we postponed the election. I myself, I took it to heart because I don't know, maybe come June, I might decide I might have a miracle cure and I might decide I want to run for selectman again. If I can't take out nomination papers, then that's disenfranchising anyone that wants to run for the Board of Selectmen, which I think is wrong. As far as I'm concerned, and I don't know if the board wants to get a legal opinion on it, I feel that the board's motion stands. That is what we decided as a board. I can accept any comment that anybody would like to have at this time.
I think that our motion should stand.
I agree with Jeff. I think it should stand. And it was my understanding that one of the reasons by postponing, we had all of those options from MMA, and one of them was, the 100-day period or something like that. I can't remember, something about 100 days. And I did get a hold of one person who had already turned in his papers and told him he would have to withdraw them because that's what everybody else was going to have to do too, and he did. So I think the motion should stand because he's going to need to get new papers and start all over again.
And Judy, just to follow up, Catherine, I had somebody drive to my house and was upset because they were going to apply or get nomination papers for the school board, and I kind of talked them off the ledge, saying not to worry because they couldn't get into the town hall to get papers. That we were doing it all over again. So there's absolutely no way that we can't, in my opinion, that we can't. We have to follow what our vote was.
I agree with you. John, you had your hand up. You wanted to say something?
Yeah. This deferral followed on the executive order from the governor, which basically said people that still had town meetings to hold were allowed to cancel them, and were given until January of next year to have their regular town meetings. And the reason I went along with that escape, if you will, was that we weren't finished up with our budget, weren't going to be able to do the regular kinds of meetings with the detail we need. And I said, okay, that gives us some breathing room. And as the board said, that's what they took. That's why they acted. And board's decision is the one that matters.
Well, I think the public needs to know that before the board made this decision, that we not only checked with MMA, we also checked with our attorney to make sure that, and the state, that this is what we could do. And given the information that was supplied to us, that is what the board decided. And as far as I can see, I think that whoever wants to run for selectman is going to have to take out papers again within that 100-day period. Am I correct? Or do these papers stay in the town office until we decide to have a vote?
I think, yes, to both your questions. I think anything that's been submitted for the original deadline will still be valid if they choose. But anybody who's aiming to run for a position has until the new deadline, which would be based on whatever date the board picks for a town meeting.
I agree with that.
I agree. And I think it's very important that I'm sorry, Jeff. I think it's important that the newspapers get this out to the public so that the public understands that we're going to keep these ones on file, but when the 100 days comes up, anyone else in the town of Wiscasset, a resident, wants to run for whether it be school board, selectmen, budget committee, they will have that opportunity to do so.
Judy?
Yes.
Can John double check with our elections clerk and make sure that that's allowable before that gets into the newspaper?
I don't think we should do it exactly like that.
What do you think?
Chair,
Yes, Ben.
Chair, I agree with the motion that we made on the 31st, which
Okay.
is why I brought it up. I was quite upset. I turned my papers in just to cover my,
I agree.
But The comment that was made that papers who have been turned in would be good whenever we set the election, I think that is wrong. Everyone starts over again.
I agree
Like
with
you
you
said,
on
you
that.
might have a change of heart. Like you said, in June might want to run. Come June, I might have a change of heart and decide maybe I don't want to. You know,
Absolutely.
well, you never know the way that things are going around here. And but anyways, I think we should all start over again and have
Well,
a
that,
fair process
in all
for
fairness,
everyone.
Ben, that's what I thought was happening when we made that motion, unless I was reading people wrong, that these nomination papers were basically void because I knew Kim had not gotten all of her signatures, you hadn't gotten all of yours. And to really make people go out in this pandemic and start getting signatures, I kind of like had a problem with that.
Madam Chair,
Not to mention it was snowing. Like I didn't get a call to go out until 3:30 in the afternoon, and I drove around in the snow in the pandemic. It was completely ridiculous.
And I
Yeah.
understand that people can think that there was miscommunication. I don't feel that there was miscommunication as much as I feel that there were certain parties that weren't listening. And
That's
that's,
that's the definition of miscommunication, Judy. I have to interrupt there. I feel like Linda,
Madam Chair,
yeah.
yes, Ben.
I want to say, in the town clerk's defense, she was never talked to before we made our decision. And when she called me up, she said that she had a ruling from Maine Municipal that we, as a board, used the wrong wording when we passed that motion. I just want to point that,
Well, this is the first
I think
time. This is the first time I've heard of it. Have you heard about that, John?
Nope.
Well, obviously there's a communication problem in the town office. Like I don't really care whose fault this was. There was a mess up and the people responsible are not all present, but it was, John and Linda. They need to be working together, talking together, the town manager with the election clerk. I feel like if there had been better communication, this would not have happened. But that's all water under the bridge. I think moving forward, I agree with the idea of if it's legal. Now, John, you have to check with Linda, make sure we can get rid of those papers that were turned in on April 9th. And then I agree with having it start all over, like Ben said.
I'll check with the attorney.
All right, thank you, John. All right, anything else
And-
on that particular subject, Ben?
Yes, only that, John be insistent with the attorneys that we need to do what we can to make this right.
Correct.
We did it for reasons of safety and fairness, and the way it turned out, it's the most unfair thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I
We've
agree
got
with
to
you.
make it right.
I agree.
We have to make this right.
Yes.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And John, we will put that in your hands.
Yep.
Okay.
Might I suggest that it's time to start thinking about what date you'd like to hold this famous town meeting? Do you want to try for July or August? I think August myself. July,
No,
I don't believe it.
No, John, we can't guess that yet. We don't know.
All right.
Right now, we're all in lockdown until May 15th. We can't make those kind of decisions until the governor moves.
Yeah, the governor has, with the executive orders, they were coming kind of fast and furious. But I was pleased when she sent out that original executive order giving the towns that were up against the social distancing and all the rest of it, yet didn't have their town meetings in place. I thought that was a very, very sensible move, and I certainly applaud it.
So do I. I'm just saying we can't sit here and come up with and guess when we might be able to do this because we don't
No.
have any idea.
Well,
No, agreed.
Well, our
Agreed.
next selectmen's meeting is what, in the middle of May. So, I mean, we might have a clearer picture of exactly where the governor is going at that point. If she's going to extend the lockdown beyond April 15th or May 15th or what. And then we can make a decision next month when we want to hold our open town meeting.
Yeah, I'll speak to the attorney and summarize the executive orders the governor's put together, and make it pretty clear.
And
Because
also just make sure you keep Linda in the loop. So she probably has insight. She's a good town clerk and a good elections clerk.
I agree with that.
Okay, so is that the agreement of the board that we'll have John check it out and this will come up for discussion again in our next meeting?
Yes, it will.
Okay.
I guess at this,
All right.
yeah,
Oh, boy. Okay, so is there anything else in the department heads reports?
Well, actually, since Dennis is here, one of the reasons I asked him to sit in that he could give us, since it's all virus, and delays and guesses and so on and so forth, this might be a good time up to the board to have Dennis, fill us in on how he sees this moving along, and also when he thinks the governor might decide to loosen things up a little bit, or we might cautiously loosen some things up a little bit. And if that's the will of the board, I offer that Dennis usefully speak at this point.
Okay, all right, Dennis, you have the floor.
Sure, thanks. As far as what the governor's going to do, the governor knows that. There certainly is pressure coming from all sides to kind of get this economy running a little bit. And I certainly understand where that's coming from. I expect myself, based on all of the various different emails and conference calls I do in the run of a day, that we'll start to see some easing of these restrictions probably before the May 15th cutoff that she has here, although that hasn't been firmly established yet. This is not going to be an on-off switch. There's absolutely no way we're going to just go back to the way things were. I think you can expect to at least see the social distancing stay in place probably through the summer, would be my own opinion on that. I think Maine has been pretty fortunate. We've seen some increases, but they're very small. And if you look around, most of them right now are in the congregate care settings. So the fear is going to be that if we do this too quickly, that's the type of issues we're going to see. We're going to see people congregating and spreading this virus and seeing an uptick in cases again, which they absolutely don't want to do. So I think this is going to be a very cautious, phased in type of thing. But along those lines was I sent to you and John this weekend just some thoughts on moving in that direction, because I do think we're going to see it sooner rather than later. And I think it should probably start to happen. I mean, some of this stuff can be eased off a little bit. It's been very quiet on the medical side, not just for our department, but across the state. EMS calls are way down. Hospital visits are actually way down. ER visits have been off as much as 50%. And part of that we discovered this afternoon is that people are actually just afraid to go out. There are people that should be going to the ER that aren't. And there's been some pretty scary, very sick people that didn't go to the hospital because they're just afraid to go out. During the extended power outage that we had in one of the storms, I was talking with a gentleman who's on oxygen at home. He was concerned because he didn't have any power to run his concentrator, and we ended up taking him over some oxygen bottles to get him through. But I suggested that he actually go and stay with family that he has in town that had power. And his response to me was, well, I thought I wasn't allowed to leave the house. So I think, we're seeing some of that. So I think we can they probably will ease some of these restrictions, and people will still be a little bit leery of going out and about. So I don't know if that necessarily answered your question or not, but I think we're still in this for a while.
Okay, so you think that by doing what we're doing right now is the best way to go?
I think we should stick with this right now. I think we can work towards perhaps opening the town office on a limited basis. I suggested a different plan to John than what we had before, where they were just coming in and out the front door. But this time we could have them come through the meeting room and up to the counter and out the front door, so it's a one-way circle. That way they can maintain their social distancing, and the clerks can see them standing in the hallway and know that there's somebody there. We could mark ticks on the floor so that people know where to stop. I don't think we should do it immediately, but I think we need to work on a plan towards doing that. I can tell people are getting frustrated about not being able to come into the town office because I run into them in the parking lot all the time.
Okay. All right, any questions for Dennis from the board? Any comments?
I do. Judy?
No, but thank you for everything you're doing.
Yes, thank you very
Appreciate it.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's, I wanted to bring up I read your report and thank you for spending what I can imagine must have been untold hours online trying to get supplies. That's amazing of you. And I know you didn't have to do that. So thank you so much for doing that for us.
That's still an ongoing issue, but actually, as a department, we're not in bad shape. I'm pretty comfortable with the way things are right now. And I wasn't for a while. I was really nervous there in the very
I saw that.
but we're in pretty decent shape. We actually got another small shipment in today. I've kind of eased off a little bit on some of that. So, and in the email I sent about the payment from the federal government, we did get.
Great.
Oh,
That's
good.
good.
I estimated $6,000 and it was $6,400, so I was pretty close.
Are you having any problems filling all your schedule?
No.
No? Okay, that sounds good.
No.
Any
And
other
right now-
questions? I'm sorry.
Nope. And right now everybody's healthy, so we just want to.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the board?
Not for
No,
Dennis, but I wanted to make a comment on another one of the town reports.
Thank you.
Is it time?
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, Dennis.
Yep.
Something else in the report?
Yeah, I just wanted to commend Rick Tetrev. I think that right from the airport. Let me go look at the paper. Yeah, he told us in his report that he found, thanks to the FAA, who I have often criticized, so I want to publicly commend them. Due to their inspection, their audit, they discovered a through the fence land lease, which resulted in us receiving $5,004 in a back lease since 2016. So I wanted to publicly thank Rick for his diligence and for making that happen for us.
Thank you, Kim. Anyone else on the?
Yeah.
Yes. Who said yes?
Sounded like
I
Ben.
said yes, agreeing with Kim.
Oh, okay. All right.
Sorry.
That's all right. Okay. So we're done with the department heads. The next item on the agenda is a request from Linda Perry to appoint the election clerks. I would need a motion. This is
I'll
for
move we appoint the election clerks as presented by the town clerk.
Second,
Okay. All those in favor, Ben,
Yes.
Kim,
Yep.
Jeff,
Yes.
Catherine,
yes.
and myself. It passes 5-0. Thank you. We now have a citizen's position to have something put on the ballot, our next electoral ballot. I'm sorry. And I would need a motion for the board to accept.
I make a motion that we accept the citizens petition as presented to be placed on the next ballot.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Any comments?
Yes, I
from the
have,
board?
Madam
Ben.
Chair,
Yes, Ben.
as you remember, I guess it was 3 years ago, the Board of Selectmen, we tried to repeal that, and we had to go through all kinds of committees in the process of doing that. Does that same sort of thing apply to this petition, or does the petition override all of that?
I believe the petition overrides this.
It most certainly does.
Yeah, and then the
I'm
voters
just
will make
asking.
up their minds. And then it'll be up to the voters whether
Correct.
the petition passes or not.
I believe
Well,
3 years ago, Ben, the board,
I
like you said,
brought that forward, Judy. To have the historical preservation. Yep.
Right. And we went through all the legalities and the whole 9 yards, and to give the people an opportunity to have their vote, it was the board who decided to put it on the warrant. This is a petition from the people, and if I'm not mistaken, this petition overrides anything
Everything.
else.
Correct.
That's all I'm asking. If that's the
Yes.
answer, that's fine.
Yes, it is. Okay, we have Kim who made the motion, Jeff who seconded it. Anybody else have any comments?
And
Okay.
I take it, yes, this has been certified by the town clerk.
That's
Yes, it
correct.
has.
Yes, okay, yep, 209 valid signatures. Okay,
Yes. Okay, all those in favor, Ben,
yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Catherine,
Yes.
and myself. It passes 5-0, so it will be on the next warrant. Okay, under new business, we have a new business license for Daniel Dyer doing business as Barnhouse Grill and Pub at 390 Bath Road. What is the board's pleasure?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, everything seems to be in order. Any questions?
Yes.
Yes, Ben.
Well, we have 2 of these in a row. And I saw where the various department heads check things off. Between the first one and the second one, the form got updated, and I think it's a good thing. Okay?
Okay,
But on the second one, on the wastewater treatment plant, it says no concerns, but we'll prepare impact fee invoice. The first one, the one we're doing right now, doesn't mention impact fee one way or the other. It just leaves me wondering, has it been taken care of? I assume they both would.
I believe, Ben, that the second one was an issue because of them
It's a brewery.
making the beer and the brewery and the amount of water and sewer that they're going to be using to make sure it doesn't impact our sewer plant. And I think that was something that was discussed, that they were going to have to look into this and make sure that the appropriate fee, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
No, they're 2 different things. That one actually addresses that. We're doing the birth ale works, and under sewer department it says no concerns other than needing to receive signed conditional sewer agreement, which apparently came in after that, so that has been taken care of.
Yes.
The
But I
other
don't
one,
think,
which is
I don't think that one has anything to do with this impacting the sewer, because it's just a grill and a pub.
Yeah, Big Barn has the impact fee, but it doesn't have the sewer agreement. Bath Ale Works had the signed sewer agreement, but nothing about an impact fee.
Right.
I
well,
think Ben's wondering why.
maybe I'm a novice at this, but it would seem to me the ale works would have a bigger impact on the town than would the Bar and Grill restaurant.
I think they had to sign one of those agreements that the water and sewer treatment plant came up with because they were talking about the different chemicals or products or whatever that go into the process of brewing beer. And
Well,
that's what they were concerned with, and they were having them sign this a special agreement.
As part of the packet, Ben, it does say that it is a conditional discharge agreement with the sewer company.
That's what it is. Yeah.
So that's the difference between the 2 of them, because of their impact on our sewer. Does that answer your question?
No, because the other one, the one we're going to.
Well, the first one's a restaurant.
The first one's a restaurant.
The second one is a brewery.
Okay, the one we're doing right now speaks of an impact fee. That implies to me that money is involved. Isn't that what an impact fee means?
I don't, where do you see impact fee?
It's attached.
On the second page under the wastewater treatment plan, under, where are
Okay,
we,
I
Tom?
see that. John, can you clarify that?
Yeah, my recollection, this one was very modest. It was something that's pretty much billed to everybody. And again, I can't remember exactly. It might have been something like $90, whereas the brewery as a whole is a whole different beast. I can check that.
Well, if I'm looking at the dates on them, the one for the first one, the Barnhouse Grill and Pub, that one was dated 4/13 that he signed that. The other one was dated 3/28. So if Bath Ale Works, he's already got his sewer agreement in, but I think what he's saying is that he is waiting for
The
the
bill.
Barnhouse Grill and Pub to do theirs. I'm looking at date-wise.
I know that the sewer impact fee is, for a brewery, is significant. I'd have to double check with Bruce about what the amounts were. I know I've seen them, I just didn't write them down.
So I'm thinking about, the Barnhouse Grill and Pub. I'm looking at the fact that Robert doesn't have any concerns, and he's going to prepare the impact fee invoice. So I don't see why that should hinder us from giving him his business license.
Well, at March 17th board meeting, according to the monthly report from the sewer treatment plant, it says that the select board gave its approval for this brewery agreement letter to be used by the sewer department. So on the 17th of March, that was when we okayed that letter, because they had come up with a draft or maybe a final version, and we approved it on the 17th of March.
Right.
So on the 28th of March, the people who have the brewery here, Bath Ale Works, would be well aware of all of that.
Right.
So I would think it would be all okay to approve both business licenses.
Kathy, did you have any comment that you want? I saw your hand go up.
Well, I vaguely remember talking to Daniel Dyer about his business on Route 1. And I believe that he had to hook up to town sewer and water. And so I think we're talking about a different type of impact fee. His impact fee would be, I think, the cost of hooking up to the system versus the brewery's cost of what the discharge is going to do to the system. So I may be wrong, but that's how I'm pretty sure that's a new hookup to the town water.
I think you're
there.
absolutely right.
I believe
Because they
you're right.
wanted to wait until winter got over
Right.
and they could dig
You
for the
remember-
sewer.
Because they had to hook up to town sewer.
Right. Ben, does that kind of clarify things for you?
No, not at all. I think we're.
I'm sorry.
I think we're talking about two separate issues entirely.
Yeah.
The discharge agreement and an impact fee are two separate animals.
That is correct. That's why there's
Okay.
All
We're
right.
doing the Barnhouse and Grill at the moment, right?
Right.
All right.
They are
Under the
waiting for. I'll wait for Ben to finish.
It says under the wastewater treatment act, no concerns, but will prepare impact fee invoice. It would be nice if everything was in order before we approved it.
Well,
If they have an impact fee to pay, then they should pay it, and I'll approve the permit, the business license. Isn't that how we should do it?
Kathy, I see your hand up. Just a minute, John?
I think they are, just what Kathy Honorato just said. They wanted to hook up to town sewer. And they couldn't do it when they bought the building and got the, are doing whatever they're planning to do until the ground thawed so that they could have the trench dug to hook up. And that's what that note about the impact fee, they can't pay it until they have the work done, because they can't have the work done until the ground thaws. So that's what that means, that they are waiting to have the sewer hooked up, and it will be done as soon as they can get someone in there that can dig the dirt up when it's all defrosted.
And
John?
all I'm saying is, when they do that and pay the town the impact fee, I will gladly vote for the business license.
Well,
We
the
have to-
problem is, I think we ought to vote for the business license now, because I think in order for them to get any of their liquor licenses, which take forever, and all of that stuff that they need to open up a business, they have to have a town approved business license before they can even go to the state with their request for whatever they need.
Yeah.
So I think under the circumstances, we know they're going to dig the thing. We know that they will get a bill from our people, and we should approve it.
John?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that when I spoke to Bruce about this, it was the impact fee. Really, I think should be better described as hooking up to water sewer. It is definitely unclear. I can easily have it clarified in the morning and get back to the board if you want to make it conditional on the fee being paid. Whatever. I think it's a hookup fee. I think he was talking something like $90 or $110. So not a major fee. But if the board wishes, just to be sure that it's been paid and make the approval conditional, that's easy enough to work with.
Jeff, do you have any comment?
I'm ready to vote on approval on both of them, Judy.
Okay, well, let's take one at a time,
Sure.
please.
No, I'm just saying that, yep,
So let's take the Barnhouse Grill and Pub. I need a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
And I seconded it.
Yeah.
Kathy, did you have something?
No, I just said you already had a motion. That's all.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
Okay,
Jeff Slack and seconded by Catherine Martin Savage.
okay. All right, so let's vote. All those in favor, Ben?
Madam Chair, I think our approach to this is as sloppy as it has been with the elections. I want to vote for it, but I can't the way we're doing it. I'm going to vote no.
Okay. Kim?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Catherine?
Yes.
Myself is yes. So that's 4-1-0. Or 4-0-1, whatever. Okay, now we're going to take up the Bath Ironworks. Aleworks. Aleworks. Okay, we need to, is Pepper Powers doing business as Bath Ironworks LLC, 691.
Aleworks.
Aleworks. You could tell I don't drink, right?
I was going to say you've been sampling.
Well, I do, and it still doesn't help.
I'll have one
I
for
can't
you.
even sample.
I'll have one for you, Judy.
You have one for me, please.
Ben will have one for you too.
Oh,
Judy,
you guys
I'd like to
have everybody
make a
have one
motion
for
to
me.
approve.
My liver can't take it. Okay, let's discuss this one. Do I have a motion so that we can discuss it?
I move that we approve the business license for Bath Ale Works.
Second.
Okay. Is there any concerns from the board?
Only that nobody here can tell me whether or not this application has to pay an impact fee or not.
Ben, if you remember right, what the wastewater treatment, he won't know what that fee is until the chemicals start flowing into the into our system. This is all new territory. When they sign that agreement, that if there is going to be a fee, the owner is aware that he has to pay it.
I didn't interpret any of that like that at all.
We don't know what it's going to be. We don't know what the impact is.
Okay, John, you have a comment.
Yeah. There, based on the expected usage, to come up with the impact fee. The other part of that long agreement that the board approved was that if anything that this company is discharging into the system causes any kind of problems, then it'll be up to them to pay the costs of remedying it.
Correct.
Yep.
I agree with that, but I'm not talking about any of that.
Well, that's what
I
this
think
is
we
all
don't.
about.
Maybe it's me, but I don't think maybe we understand what impact fee means. I'm concerned with what may be going into the system, but as in terms of the volume, I'm not concerned at all. It'll be measured and they'll pay for every ounce.
But
That's not what an impact fee is.
But he's not talking about an impact fee. A signed agreement on a sewer
I
agreement.
know, but they're missing my whole point.
No, I'm not, Ben. I'm saying
Well,
that
why would there be an impact fee for one business and not for the other?
Because the
Because-
And that
second one is already hooked up to the sewer. They're part of that strip mall across from Shaw's.
this one is not. And it does say in here that he signed it on March 30th. And Bob made his statement on March 23rd. So all he was saying is he was waiting for the owner to sign this agreement. The owner signed the agreement. So, I mean, to me, everything has been met.
I'm on board with this signing the agreement. That's not my point. I'm just asking whether or not they have an impact fee.
We
If I'm
won't
totally
know.
wrong on impact fees, I will apologize profusely.
I don't know we're
We
going to
don't know
know
what
that
the fee
until
is.
I don't think
Right.
we're going to know that until after he's hooked up.
Correct.
We're asking for a number out of the sky, and you're not going to know that until he's hooked up. And by this sewer agreement, he's made the agreement that whatever the fee is, he's going to pay it. We have a binding document with him. Am I correct, or am I missing something?
You aren't missing a thing.
I thought that agreement was to cover us if the things that they were putting into the system was hurting the sewer system.
That's exactly what it is, Ben.
Okay, but I'm not sure that is an impact fee. They're two separate things. Like I said, maybe I'm totally wrong on this, but that's why that was my first question. Why does one have one and one not? I would like to know the answer to that, and I don't know it. And I hate voting for stuff when I don't know the answers.
I think what it is, Ben, is that we gave the wastewater treatment director permission to have people sign this, knowing that if there is going to be an impact fee, that they will pay it.
And I believe that's what the agreement says.
Because nobody knows.
I don't think they're going to know until he's up and running and he's using the sewer. Am I correct?
Well,
I don't know. I don't
well,
have town sewer.
What you're telling me is we're hooking somebody up and we have no idea what's going to happen.
Correct.
And I don't believe, I don't believe we operate that way. We certainly shouldn't.
Okay, John, you have a comment.
Yeah, there's two parts. One is a fee assessed based on the anticipated volume and composition. That's item one, and they pay that up front. The second part is if something goes wrong and it's their fault, something gets into the system, or they don't hit the right schedule and messes up, the whole treatment process, then it's their responsibility to fix that. But there is upfront, there's a complicated formula that the DEP has put together, and that does get paid up front. Impact fee generally is if something different happens on a given piece of property, and it impacts how the town operates or roads or this or that, then they'd be charged an impact fee. And so if you've got a house that just changes ownership, there's no impact fee for that because it's not altering anything. It's not creating any extra work for any of the departments. So with the brewery, which is, new challenge because we haven't done this before, we rely on the formula upfront that the DEP has put together. It's quite complex.
But this protects the town.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I voted for the agreement. I'm all for protecting the town. This is in the shopping center.
No.
Hey,
Isn't this where Simpsons used to be?
Yes, it is.
Wait, no,
No.
the
Restaurant.
yeah, the
No.
restaurant is where the seafood is, where Simpson's Seafood used to be. The Ale Works is at
Oh, it's
69.
across the street, right?
Yeah,
Right. Sorry, Kathy.
That's right.
okay.
It's across the street. Yes.
And
So they're
where is
already
it located?
It's in the mall where Marketplace Cafe is and the laundromat and the Dollar Tree.
It's
It's in that strip mall.
It's at the, Ben, remember how Yellowfront separated into two businesses? One was the Dollar Tree or something. It's to the left of it.
The very end unit.
They used to have a
Okay,
recycling place in there at one time, didn't they?
No, it's been nothing, Judy. The recycling is up on the hill a little bit.
Okay.
Yep.
They used to have to go in that door to get into Yellowfront.
Correct.
Okay, now I know where we're at. All right.
Yes, you are. Yep.
Okay.
All right. If this, I can accept that there's no impact fee on this one if it's already there
Mhm.
or they're already hooked up.
Right.
Right.
But I do think these new forms need to be a little more work done to them.
Okay. Any other questions or comments regarding Bath Ale Works LLC? I get it right now. Kathy, do I have a motion or am I waiting for
Yes.
one?
You have a motion. Motion by Catherine Martin Savage, second by Kim Anderson.
Okay, are we ready to vote?
Yes,
Okay, all those in favor, Ben,
I will vote for this one. Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Catherine,
Yes.
and myself. That makes it 5-0. Okay, we have the monthly financials. John, is there anything you'd like to say regarding those?
Our revenues for now are, holding up about where they should be. Obviously, some reductions in certain areas, like rec centers closed, so not unreasonable to see that as lower than projected. So as I said, revenues are mostly okay. Money's coming in. Like the fact that the office is closed, I go out regularly and open the door, take an envelope from people, even though we do have the drop box. And Molly says their numbers are pretty good. We've still got a few days to go. And with regard to the expense, we've told people to be cautious on the expenses, and they're doing what they can. Certain things you can't avoid, but generally they've been pretty prudent about that. So no comment on that. But with regards to the investment accounts, you've seen that. You want me to say a few words about that?
Yeah, say a few
Right
words
away.
about the investment while we're here. I can see we
Okay.
lost a lot of money.
Yeah. With regard to the endowment fund total, it's down around 10%, which candidly, I've seen worse, considering everything that happened. And the other one is also down, less than 10%. So I know people looking at 20 and 25% drops. So not that it's pretty. It could be worse. Of course, it doesn't mean it's not going to get worse at some point, but I would say all bets are off if you look at oil prices for the next few weeks. Certainly, it's going to be highly confusing. And if we can't get the economy going, it's unlikely that the stocks will recover very quickly. But not to get excited about a 10% drop, but it definitely could have been worse.
Okay, does the board have any questions regarding these reports?
It just to give you my 2 cents on it. 3 or 4 years ago, we got out of a lot of the oil, which was a really good move by when we met back then. So I think that, like John said, it's going to come back. Our portfolio is going to come back quicker than others.
Thank you. Anybody else have a comment?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ben here again.
Yes, Ben.
Just to put it in different kind of English, we have lost $2 million in the last 2 months. We've gone from 12 million down to 10.
Correct.
Okay. Getting back to our motion earlier to postpone everything, we did that for safety and fairness sake, and we did the right thing.
Yes.
But we also, it gave us time to, sit back and take a deep breath and see what's happening with our finances. And as we can see, we've lost 2 million in the last couple of months. And the motion that we passed gives us some breathing room to let things, find their own place, and then we can deal with things a little more intelligently than now. Now is no time to put together a budget. We need a month or two. And so, this really brings it home that we do need that extra time.
Well, I think you and I talked about this once, Ben, as far as the budget. I think in a couple months we might be able to have a better realistic viewpoint of what the town finances are and come in with a really good, true budget.
I agree with you. All of this is unfortunate, but waiting a month or two, we'll be so much better off. Hopefully this will turn around or at least flatten or something.
Hopefully.
We could have done a lot with $2 million.
We could have. Hopefully we'll get it all back.
It will be back. It will be back.
But
Okay.
but by the same token, this is no time to take money out of these funds.
No,
Not
right.
at all.
No, I agree with you, both Jeff and Ben. This is not the time. And that's why when we start looking at the budget, I think that's when we're really going to have to come down to nitty gritty and decide, do we want to take extra money out of Payson or not, or just give it another year to grow? I think that might be a discussion, that the board has at that time.
Yes, who knows? We could be up $1 million, or we could be down another $1 million.
That's correct.
They're giving oil away at the moment. My God.
I know. I wished I'd waited a couple weeks before I filled my tank. But okay. So if we're done with that one, we will go on to the town manager's report, and that will be up to John.
Okay. Transfer station, as you know, we've returned to regular hours starting today. We are still not taking recyclables. Like other towns, it's there's not much value in separating the recyclables. Plus, my bigger concern is maintaining social distancing. And if anybody who's been up in any transfer station, any dump, that is one of the social spots. People spend a lot of time talking back and forth, or going from one bin to the other, asking questions and so on and so forth. So by streamlining the drop-off process, I think we've done about what we can. Having said that, there are some people very, very upset, have been absolutely obnoxious to our staff, and including one whose license plate number was taken, and the chief is following up on it. There's no reason for our people to take use. They're doing what they've been asked to do. They're trying to maintain social distance. And anyway, that's enough about that. We are also taking metal, and last week started taking brush. We had to because most of our trees turned into brush, and so a lot of people were glad to see that. And we're taking construction and demolition material again, and we've just about we can handle it this time of year. We can handle it, and so that's the update there. There's not very much value in recyclable at all. If you look at Lincoln County Recycling, how much stuff is piled up there waiting for a market. That's an indication what it's like. And I know Ted has some other material recyclables put away in the background waiting for the prices to get up. But it will take some time. Oil prices, which are the foundation of fuel, if you will, for plastics, pretty much gone, which means any derivative isn't of any great value unless you burn it for energy, which can be done. So that's my report on the transfer station.
John, if I could interrupt you. John, if I could just interrupt you for a second. Thank you for fielding my two emails. As far as the harassment goes, what John is saying is very much the truth. I had one of our townspeople who extremely rude. So, John, when I was emailing you about taking the demo, it wasn't to pressure you in any way. It's just because I was getting it on my home phone.
Yeah, that's I get a certain amount of those calls, and often about taxes, whatever it might be. And I know a month ago there was one particular contractor being pretty unpleasant, and my golly, maybe he ended up talking to you. I don't know.
Yeah, he did.
But, same guy. Okay.
Yes.
But it's I mean this isn't easy. I mean,
no.
You were to ask anybody at the transfer station, what would your ideal be? They'd say, hey, can we just loosen up here? Get a chance to talk to people, let people, sort their recyclables. But that's not where we are. And we know darn well a lot of people who like to find fault. We have to be careful about the cameras, because anything that looks a little off, there'll be a photo someplace, and then that'll be followed by commentary from various people. So it's not easy. The guys don't like it. They do their best to maintain decent dispositions and treat people like they should be treated, but it's mighty hard sometimes. But generally speaking, most people are fine. They thank them for being open. They thank them for this. They thank them for that. And but there are enough people to make life pretty difficult up there. So I've told Ted, don't hesitate to bring it to my attention, and we'll follow up with whatever's necessary. And Ted is pretty good. He tries to keep it for his own hat, maybe too much sometimes, but he's a good guy, and his people do their darndest. And anyway, they don't deserve this. And in a month or two, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you could pass on to them, John, thank you very much, because if like I said, mine was just one person, two really, but one was way over the top. What they must have heard up there, the vulgarity, it's alarming over debris. Do you know? I get it, but so thank them for me.
Well, I think
I certainly will.
John, I think I would like, and if I have the board's approval, I'd like to have something sent out from the board to all the employees of Wiscasset, thanking them for their due diligence and, they're above and beyond working. Okay. And that we thank them very much and commend them for their work that they do.
I will do that.
Is that
Do that
okay with the
tomorrow.
board?
That is definitely a good idea.
Yep, here, here.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Thank
agree.
you, it's
John.
always, yeah. A
Okay.
thank you letter goes a long way.
Yes, it does. I think the town employees, sometimes they're underappreciated, and I think we really need to show our appreciation, especially at this time. It's got to be difficult for them.
Yep.
Agreed.
Okay.
John.
Yeah. Yes.
Does Lincoln County at this point, are they taking any recycled items? Or is there any place that we can go? I mean,
In
at
fact,
the
I
moment, I'm just storing my recycling, but I'd like to, get rid of it.
Well, can I just say, John, tell them about the Fiberite thing you told me about.
Yeah. Fiberite is where our garbage generally goes, and now it's where our garbage and recyclables go. And their business model, when things go well, is that they have ways of, conveyor belts and magnets and so on separate the material, and they recycle it. Now, big difference between nicely sorted recycling and somebody pulling apart a mixture. A mixture of garbage and recyclables. But at the very end of it, worst comes to worst, they can always burn it. And so I don't know what percentage they're able to recycle. But if you look at this first or Booth Bay Region Refuse District, or you look at Lincoln County Recycling, you'll see bale after bale after bale of recyclables sitting there. There just is not the market. Sometimes all you can get out of
that's not my
recycling.
question.
Who's
My
recycling?
question,
No,
does the county take recycling?
very little.
If a citizen, I'm just asking, is there
No,
any
not,
avenue to take recyclables to at the moment? I don't want to throw them into the hopper. It just kind of defeats the whole purpose. I'm just asking if there's
they
any
don't
place
take it
else
from.
to take.
No, they don't take recyclables from individuals. They take recyclables from the towns because they're not staffed. They're staffed primarily to pick the material up from wherever and bale it and sell it. And right now, there's almost nothing out there that's buying, and the prices are even when you find somebody, you get almost nothing for the material. A lot of handling for no gain. We've had trouble with, some years ago the Chinese said we don't want any of this stuff, and that's where our trouble started, and we haven't found alternative markets in this country. I think in time we'll find out that new markets will be developed. For now, that there's a long lead time on something like that, setting up facilities, developing a line that collects enough material for some processing plants to be able to operate profitably. And
Okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I thought we stopped the recycling because of the virus, as opposed to the economy. But
it's both, man. It's both. There's no value in the recyclables, and the other part is, like I said earlier, you get all these people milling around, and I've seen them, and they go from one bin to the next. They crisscross their neighbors. They talk and so on and so forth. So you're talking a visit.
John, I'm
Just
totally
dropping
on
off.
board with you. I'm on board 100%.
Yeah.
I just made the comment. I thought we stopped recycling because of the virus, but I'm hearing it's for all kinds of reasons. Okay.
It's well, absolutely. The virus is the one. It was the catalyst, if you will. It's kind of, hey, all this extra work, all this extra, health risk for almost no gain.
Okay. The bottom line is I have been saving my recyclables, hoping that at some point, we could do the right thing with them. What you're telling me is I'm wasting my time and I might as well just throw it into the hopper. Is that the message?
Well, let me put it this way: in the back of my car, there's not an easy answer, but in the back of my car, I've got a fair bit of cardboard because that's got some higher value. But if everybody holds off on their recyclables, they might have to wait. They might have to wait a bit, opposed to, yes.
John, I just want to say in the article that was in the newspaper, I think from like March 24th, I think maybe even, I don't know if it was Phil who wrote it, they interviewed the guy in the transfer station who was saying how wonderful our contract with Fiber Right was because they do sort the recycling and then they incinerate a lot of materials that are then converted into some kind of natural gas, right? They collect the petroleum-based materials. So the transfer station staff have been telling members of the public who are concerned about recycling that they don't need to worry, that it's going to Fiber Right, where they do a better job of recycling than we even did before. And that's why I sent you 4 emails this week to confirm, because your tone and the tone of Ted Snowden make it sound like recycling's not happening. But at the transfer station and in the newspaper, they're telling people that it is happening up at Fiber Right. So I just needed to verify with my friends who would have a closet full of recycling just like I do that, yes, it's okay to throw it in the hopper. The town is not lying to you. It is going to Fiber Right where it does get recycled. That's true, isn't it?
It depends how you define recyclable. If some of it gets recycled, that's, yes, they're recycling. If you're getting a higher recycling rate, then that's a different kind of recycling. I'm a great believer in this for 25 years between the county and such like. And if I were buying material, I would want it to be clean. I would want it to be sorted. I do remember at the county, they had a load of, I think it was mixed plastic, and there was some plastic sheeting in there. And they took the whole thing apart. They had to take it back. I don't know, it cost $1,500, put it all together and package it for sale. So it does matter the quality of the recyclables. And as I said, my definition of recyclables may be stricter than others. And I'm a great believer in recycling.
John, I'm sorry, but I think that Fiber Right is doing something that is a new technology that kind of resolves some of the issues that you're sharing right now.
All right.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm going to ask a very dumb question. If I have recyclable, can I put it in the hopper and just Fiber Right's going to take care of it? Is that the understanding?
That's what they put in the newspaper, Judy.
I know, I'm asking John.
I'm a skeptic. I mean, you look at everything that's currently going through the transfer station. You know what it's like, and there's recyclables in there. And I am not convinced that when the recyclables come out, that they'll be as valuable as what we would normally produce, namely properly sorted and
Have
clean.
you called Fiber Right and asked John?
What, Kim?
I asked if he had called Fiber Right and asked.
No, I haven't called Fiber Right. I've been working with recycling for years. All sorts of wonderful claims from these
technology. And if you read the article in the paper, where they interviewed, I forget that dude's name, who works in the transfer station, it sounded really quite lovely. So I
exactly
have done research on Fiber Right in the past with my class, and what they say they're doing up there is pretty terrific. So if we're telling our taxpayers that that's what's happening, we should verify that. That's why I offered to call them if you don't have time. I don't want to step on your toes, but I'm really curious. And I do have some pretty serious tree hugger friends who also want to know.
Yeah, I guess I probably have tree hugger friends too, but I also know people in different other municipalities and such like sort their recyclables. Some go one way, some go the other way. Not everybody is confident about Fiber Right as other people are. I mean,
but right now we are not recycling. Is that correct?
Right. That's
when
correct.
we throw our stuff in the hopper, whether it's recyclable or trash or whatever it is, then Fiber Right takes care of it on their end. Is that correct? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, they'll recycle as much as they can get out of it. Yeah.
All right. So the business of recycling can be a subject at a later time when the transfer station is completely up and running, and maybe we can deal with it then. But right now, this is the cards we've been dealt, and you just put everything in the hopper. And yes,
Judy,
Kim,
would it be all right if I just called Fiber Right and asked them what they do?
that's up to John Connell. He's the town manager. If he wants to let you call him,
Oh yeah, go right ahead. I mean, I know what they'll say. They'll just say, yeah, we recycle it. And again, we come down to definition, we come down to quality, we come down to prices.
Yeah, I'm
And,
happy to clarify those
okay.
things. I want to know. I want clarification.
but Kim, John has told you to go right ahead and make the phone call. So go ahead and call. All right. Is that all this discussion on the transfer station?
I hope so.
I hope so too, Jeff. Okay, let's go on to the virus update, John.
Yeah, I've pretty much done that. That's why I brought Dennis in. And as Ben and the board is aware, I mean, we have to wait and see. We've got the if you will, the prohibition until May 15th from the governor about social distancing and all the rest of it. Very concerned about the next few weeks, as we are, as Dennis would be, as to how it's going to shape up. Whether we just get a peak and then a plateau, and we don't have a second wave. And if we get careless, relax too soon, we could end up with a second wave. And of course, from the point of view of visitors, I mean, it's kind of, we need them, but they can't come. And if they do come, they've got to self-quarantine for 2 weeks. So, and then if you've noticed that the state's revenue until sometime in 2021, that figure is going to be down by about $1 billion, and that's where our revenue sharing comes from. So it's going to be hard to pick the time and pick a budget and pick the projections that'll work for the town. So again, maybe it'll be clearer in a few weeks or a few months, but we might get lucky. We might just find ourselves in a spot where we can get back closer to normal, not back the way it was, no way. Anyway, so that's the update. We're doing what we can. If we are going to open the town office, I mean, it's an awkward building from the point of view of traffic flow and air circulation, which is downright awful. And we do have, even with only a handful of us there and department heads coming in and such like, we are constantly disinfecting it. They call it the deep cleaning. And the more people we have coming in, the more deep cleaning we have to do. So it's a balancing act. And people have been mostly pretty good.
I know that you had talked to me about possibly wanting the board to meet more often. You might want to bring that up to the board now. I think you said that waiting the 2 weeks, too much comes up, and maybe we should meet once a week.
Yeah, it's up to the board, obviously. These meetings don't run too late. Now this one has run. This is running an hour and a half. I like to be able to inform the board, keep them up to date with things as they develop. And if the board is willing, and maybe put a time limit on some of this, I put in Dennis to update you on the more technical side, and we can go through things reasonably quickly. For example, I got a few other updates that I could get out of the way. For example, Mary Costigan of Bernstein Shore is working on the agreement with DOT about the handover once the project is done, and handing over Haggett Garage and so on. This, I guess, has been going on for quite a while, and there's finally a draft document. I got it. Actually, I opened it this morning, and I can send that out to the board. And basically, yes, we get the Haggett property, but we are responsible for a long list of maintenance, everything that's been done. So I don't have an estimate on the cost, but it's going to be significant. Anyway, I can email that out to the board. That to tell you that with the Public Works Bargaining Unit, Kathy and I were talking to Matt Tarasevich, and we tidied up a few formatting issues and put together the salary scale. So that's acceptable and can be signed. The board's already approved the agreement, but I'm just saying we got agreement on wording and the last all details. The other unit support staff has not yet accepted the proposal. I guess they're close. That's not ready for signature yet. But again, Kathy over the weekend came in and she cleaned up some of the text, and should be ready to go within a few days. Those are my updates.
All right, so what does the board think about meeting like maybe on every Tuesday, say around 4:30, and just for a quick update? Does anybody have a problem?
Sounds great to me.
Not a problem for me. Any day that's good for everybody is fine with
Yeah.
me.
Okay.
And 4:30 is perfect.
Kim, do you have a problem with that?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I'm just waiting for stuff to happen.
All right, Jeff. I'm sorry, Jeff said yes. How about Ben? Are you all set?
Yes, I'm set.
Okay, so we'll meet next Thursday, which is the
Well,
20th.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Tuesday's a better day for me. Tuesday, the
So we're talking the
28th
28th. Okay, Tuesdays.
at 4:30.
4:30 on the
4:30.
28th.
Yes,
Okay.
and I will send out a notice of the meeting.
Motion
Okay,
to,
is there any other board business?
can I make a motion to adjourn?
Yes, you may. I will even second it.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, let's take a vote. Ben,
Yes, I am, and I wanted to point out that the daffodils of the town common are coming up. I saw those the other day.
They're beautiful.
good,
Oh,
good.
that's good.
2,000 of them.
Whew.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, it's a lot.
Kim, are you all set to adjourn?
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Catherine,
Yes.
and myself. So that's 5-0. So we are adjourned.
You guys have a
Thank you,
good,
John.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
night.
John.
Thank you.
thank you.
Good night.
Have a good night, everybody.
5:56.
Peace.
Yep. Thank you.
Good night. Thank you, John. Thank you, everyone.